This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
The word you are looking for is tyranny. Because that is what is taking place in Oldham today. Tyranny. A Labour Party controlled town exposed for systematic corruption, electoral fraud, relationships of its senior officials with multiple mobsters, heroin dealers, cop killers, getaway drivers, with the councillors moonlight as bootleggers because it's a better fit than being claimed, being accused of, confirmed of being a bribe taker. Yesterday, well, who was surprised? How many of you were really surprised? Let's be clear of where this all started and how we got to yesterday. A number of months ago, an extraordinary council meeting was called after the repeatedly delayed cover-up attempt by Andy Burnham's investigation team published its assurance review, which confirmed an unspecified number of children had been systematically groomed and gang raped by Pakistani rape gangs in this town. White working class girls, they won't say how many. Crimes against them had been covered up. The police had failed them, the council had failed them, and the mainstream media had been complicit also in the cover-up. Those that published the report were keen to defend Jim McMahon and claim that the cover-up wasn't really a cover-up, but every line of the report read as a cover-up. And the chief executive, the leader of the council at the time, was the now MP Keir Starmer's shadow minister. These are facts. These are facts that McMahon and his mates have tried to have me arrested for, imprisoned for, yet here I still am. At that public meeting, of which Andy Burnham also attended, was 100 or so members of the public from across every community in this town. Everyone outraged by the Labour Party fans who sat there. Everyone else outraged at what had taken place. CHRIS Bowen, the Chief Superintendent, repeatedly apologised for Greater Manchester Police's failings. Amanda Chadderton repeatedly apologised. The Director of Children's Services, or the Chief Exec, or whatever his name is, was smirking throughout the meeting, for which he was called out on. Gerard Jones. It later emerged that Gerard Jones, in the report itself, had misled and deceived and attempted to prevent victims from giving evidence successfully. The only victim to give evidence was one, and that was at the direct intervention, following the direct intervention of Maggie Oliver. 100 people were outraged. At the subsequent council meeting in the days that followed, the Failsworth Independent Party attempted to put forward a motion calling for a public inquiry. Amanda Chadderton, with the support of the Chief Executive, Dirty Harry Caffrell, and the Borough Solicitor, Paul Bentwhistle, and the Director of Constitutional Services, Elizabeth Drogan, all 3 council officers paid for by you, allowed the Labour Party to rewrite the Failsworth Independence motion to something else unconstitutionally, so much so that the meeting that followed the initial Failsworth Independent Party's motion was re-presented and voted on and voted down, blocked by Amanda Chadderton yet again. So first of all, she rewrote it to prevent the motion from being discussed and debated or voted on. And then secondly, when she could not stop it and her council had been called out for its unlawful actions against the council's own constitution, she voted it down and infamously stood up and said, you cannot claim that the lives of those children who were groomed and gang raped had been destroyed. That's right. The leader of Oldham Council claimed that. And of course, throughout that, there was uproar in the public galleries where the members of the public were behind perspex screens that the council had erected to treat members of the public, tax-paying members of the public, never a violent issue ever in those council meetings, ever, but treating them like animals in a zoo. Pending. The council, Amanda Chadderton, wasn't satisfied with that. The Labour Party leader, in collaboration with the Chief Executive, Dirty Harry Caffrell, and the Borough Solicitor, Paul Entwistle, and the Director of Constitutional Services, Elizabeth Drogan, then issued a series of ASBI letters, antisocial behaviour intervention letters, fake ones, presented in such a way, first of all, with the Greater Manchester Police logo next to the Oldham Council logo. And when exposed on national news, Greater Manchester Police confirmed the letters had nothing to do with them. But Greater Manchester Police had not gone and arrested a single member of Oldham Council for illegally using their logo on letters that they were issued to members of the public threatening them. Because Greater Manchester Police, the Chief Superintendent CHRIS BOWEN and his team have been exposed for their role in the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children. Remember, it was their police officers that handed over a 12-year-old child to be groomed and to be gang raped repeatedly, and then hid which police officer, and continues to hide which police officer was responsible for handing over a child to a group of rapists. And what Amanda Chadderton and her mates did was issue these ASBI letters, fake ASBI letters, unsigned, to a range of members of the public. And the reasons, contrary to what they are claiming, the reasons included someone spoke at the meeting. Not shouted or screamed, someone spoke at the meeting. So how dare someone speak at the meeting? Someone looked at the mayor or a politician or someone, I don't know who, but someone looked at someone in a manner that they found threatening. Yes, looked at someone from the public gallery behind a perspex screen, 50 yards forward at someone, and apparently that was menacing. Someone swore, and that has been found to be false, because it's been found to be false because that person wasn't even at that meeting. They're on holiday somewhere else. And of course, someone threatened Charlotte Green, the local democracy reporter, and which it then emerges that Charlotte Green did not report she'd been threatened. someone at the council decided that Charlotte Green had been threatened. I kid you not, a whole host of attempts at censorship. And they prevented, from what I can tell, a dozen or so people from ever attending future meetings. Apparently you can appeal. They abused data protection laws to find these people's names and addresses, and issued fake ASBI letters. And now are claiming, and I'll read this from a press release they've issued this morning. They are now claiming a number of people had been banned from attending meetings due to the disruptive and at times violent behaviour. At times violent behaviour. Remember, the police have been called and the police have not arrested or charged a single person because these allegations from Amanda Chadderton, Paul Entwistle, Elizabeth Drogan and Harry Caffrell are completely fabricated, completely false. They just don't like that they've been exposed for protecting Pakistani rape gangs. Because that's what these people in this council have done. Amanda Chadderton and her team have been protecting Pakistani rape gangs. Worse, they've even hired the ringleader of the Pakistani rape gang, Shabir Ahmed, and funded him to sit in the Pakistani Community Centre in Glodick, where he sold children from. Where his customers came in and ordered children for dates and times. That's what they've been exposed for, and they knew and did nothing. They gave taxi licenses to known child sex offenders. Knowingly. And you, me, and everyone else that's been outraged at this, well, they've attempted to censor us. And then people like Warren, Julie, Lynn, some of the others, they've never experienced anything like this because this is tyranny. It's not supposed to happen here. So they go back to the council meetings like, I've not said this, let me in. And they've sent the bully boy Capricorn security nightclub bouncers after elderly members of the public, frail women, and assaulted them. In this town, assaulted them, assaulted members of the public at the instructions of the council. Prior to that, and this is a Labour Party run council, prior to that, this is a Labour Party run council who object to voter ID, on record objecting to voter ID, who are insisting that members of the public to attend a public meeting must take ID with them, must have their bags searched, must have their photographs taken. All to intimidate them. Nothing else but to intimidate members of the public. So Warren Bates, Julie Hayward, a few of us turn up. Warren's assaulted. And Julie hurts her hand pretty badly. I'm not sure if it's broken or not. I'll get Julie on the phone in a minute. She can tell you herself what happened. And the Conservatives, so we're clear, because whilst this was going on outside, Robert Barnes was issuing a grovelling apology to Gerard Jones, the liar Gerard Jones, to the mayor, who'd unlawfully, against the council's own constitution, blocked a motion, remember? Issuing a grovelling apology was the Conservative. I'm sorry, I should never have done this. I'll never do this again. Please, please, please. And I think, for those of you who asked me, why is this ban not being challenged inside the council chamber? Well, the Conservatives' motion was something to do with gullies being cleaned on the streets of councillors. That's right, gullies being cleaned. This is a dictatorship. And it involves Greater Manchester Police, who refuse to come out to a 999 call. Refuse to come out to a 999 call. Because as we've shown time and time and time again, CHRIS Bowen and his team are neck deep in this cover-up. Their partnership with Oldham Council, the unlawful criminal behaviour, partners in crime. And they use this firm called Capricorn Security. Let me show you something about Capricorn Security. Run by this man, Billy Robinson, and his mate, Dalton Adams. So these are the main two up at the top. You can see how many people there are. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 of them. It's important. Yeah. 24 of them, give or take. That's separate to their bouncers, because I'm guessing these ladies aren't part of the bouncing team or security team or whatever the terminology is. Based out of Newton Heath. So Oldham Council employ the goons, because that's what they are, goons, based out... Sorry, that's my door, Sam. I'll have to ignore that. Based out of Newton Heath. For those of you unaware, sorry, let me just get that and I will come back. Just bear with me. In the meantime, if you haven't, most of you haven't, please do like the video and let me come back. So there you go. Capricorn Security. The numbers of them are important. You can see them all. Capricorn Security Group Limited. liquidated. Accounts overdue, all the rest of it, insolvent, gone. Look. The council's security services are run by a company that's been made insolvent, liquidated. Liquidated. Not me. Company's house. Look at the people. You'll see them there. Billy Robinson, Dalton Adams. Liquidated. The council employ a security company that have closed down, whose company has been liquidated. How dodgy is that? And then this company has set up again as Capricorn Security Group Holdings Limited. So first of all, it's Capricorn Security Group Limited. Now it's Capricorn Security Group Holding Limited. And its filing history, already compulsory strike-off action has been discontinued. So they weren't submitting their forms in time. And the company has a balance sheet. Has a £200 investment, and current assets of £2,000, give or take, 1,938 in the bank. Cash at hand in the bank. So how does a company like this have all of this, which was previously liquidated, and Oldham Council are in bed with them? Oldham Council are in bed with them. And in case you were wondering, you type in Capricorn Security and Oldham Council in Google, and you will see as far back June 2018, you can see it here. Press that XLS document. Oldham Council was giving money to Capricorn Security. So what is a council doing, hiring goons from a security company that went bust, now has reinvented itself? Paying with your council tax money. No wonder these lads are more than happy to throw old people around. Is this the sort of company you want contracts handed out on your behalf? Goons. That's what they are. Council mobsters. Masquerading behind a front, and you click on some company house records and you'll see that the companies were liquidated. And they're from Newton Heath. Appointed from Newton Heath. Jim McMahon, his Twitter handle, Jim from Oldham, is not from Oldham. Do you know where he's from? He's from Newton Heath. Of course, that will be just another coincidence in a whole sequence of coincidences. I'm not getting involved in the Robert Barnes thing. I don't care. I ain't got time for the Tories. I understand they've issued a statement about this morning. It's bollocks. It's just playing to the crowd. When these ASBIs were issued, the Conservatives supported them. Oldham Conservatives supported them on their Facebook page. They decided you lot were wrong in your outrage, and the council had every right to issue these letters. even though these letters are unlawful, even though these letters, it's just bullying tactics, because the people they've issued them to don't have the means to take legal, to use legal means to challenge them. Is that what they're based in? Capricorn Security. Dodgy, dodgy, dodgy. What a council is doing involved with an organisation that assaults pensioners, can't even do its accounts properly, liquidates, winds down one company and sets up in almost an identical name. I want to know, when the old company was closed down, liquidated, was the contract newly tendered? I bet it wasn't. I bet it just transferred from the old lot to the new lot. I bet it just transferred from the old lot to the new. What palms were greased there? I've not looked into it that much, Lynn. I don't know how much they owed in the end. Or who to. Let's try and get Julie on the phone. Let's try this way first and see if it works. Give me 1 second.
Are you right? You all right?
I am. You're next to the speaker, so you go ahead and you tell us all what happened. I'm not going to interrupt you. You go for it.
Right. Okay, so I attended the meeting last night to be met with the usual checking of bags, taking your coats off you, removing your phones, taking your photograph, blah, blah, blah. And then they said that I'd had a letter, so they wouldn't allow me to go through, which obviously, I sent the letter back. I don't agree with the letter.
What did they ban you for? What did they ban you for?
I'm not sure because I didn't open it. I just sent it back saying I didn't agree. But when I asked for evidence, to show me the evidence of what they was accusing me of, they told me the evidence was online. So, God knows. It's just crazy. To me, it's just a threatening letter to keep people out. So anyway, basically, they told me I couldn't go in. But I did manage to wiggle through because I am small, and I managed to wiggle through, and I got through to the corridor. So as I was walking down the corridor, there was two guards behind me. Now, one of them was like a silverback. He was massive. And I don't know if he pushed me or body bumped me as I was going down the corridor, but that was the first strike. And then as I got to the set of doors, the lad on the other side of the doors opened the door. And as he opened the door, he was obviously like pushing the door to see what was going on or whatever. But as he did, I was at the door and I put my hand in the door like you do to pull it open. At which point, one of the other security guards, but I'll come to that, I thought he was a security guard, but as it happened, he pushed the door shut and my hand was in the door, and I was screaming, my hand's in the door, because obviously it hurts. But at the same time then, the silverback behind me sort of picked me up, tried to throw me backwards, but my hand was still in the door.
Sorry, I'm interrupting for a second. Your hand's trapped in a door, but the security guard, the huge security guard from behind, picks you up and tries to throw you.
Yeah, but obviously, I was screaming, my hand's in the door, and he was massive. He was, honestly, I'm not exaggerating, he was like a silverback. But the other security guard, what trapped my hand in the door, I thought he was a security guard, but it turns out I think, now I'm not sure, I'll have to check on this. I think he's called Paul Frigger or something like that. And I think he's in charge, he works for Oldham Council.
So is an Oldham Council employee assaulting you?
Yeah, he assaulted me first because he trapped my fingers in the door, and then the other one pulled me like that. So it really hurt because obviously you get the trap thing and then someone's pulling, and that's how I've got so many injuries.
And you ended up in...
It wasn't just a trap.
You ended up in A&E. You called the police.
Yeah.
You called 999 or Peter Brown. Someone called 999 and they didn't attend. Is that right?
They didn't attend. They told us to go to the police station. It was absolutely hammering it down. We got wet through. We knocked on the... Because it were all closed. The lights were off. We banged on the window. He told us to walk round to the back. We walked round to the back. There was no one there. So we ended up doing the full circle. We was drenched. Anyway, he let us in and he listened and he's promised to look at the footage. I don't know, you know.
They won't look at the footage. They're bent.
No.
They're just as bent. The police are just as bent.
Yeah, and
A&E, what's
Why do
happened?
the
What's
police
happened? People are
officers
asking,
give me a
Julie.
lift?
What's happened?
Yeah.
How are you? What's your hand? Is it broken? Is it bruised? What?
it isn't broken. The X-ray showed that it wasn't broken, but it's really swollen. It's my fingers and my hand. You know, it's sore. It was really painful. Especially when it just happened, because you know what, it's like trapping something anyway. But it weren't just a trap, there was then force being pushed on the door, and then me being dragged backwards while my hand, and I was screaming, my hand's in the door. You know, I mean, it all happened within like 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds, but still, you know, they shouldn't be manhandling me like that. Like I said to them, when they said to me, no, you can't go in, that's their job done. If I get through, then that's for the next person to stop me.
It's
What
not.
it was with that silverback, he wanted to stop me because I could tell with his mannerisms. He was like, oh no, you're not. And he was, you know, and he ran off afterwards. I'm not even sure that he's employed there. He ran off. They wouldn't give me his name.
Wow.
So it's just mad. It was mad. And at the end of the day, I just want to attend a public council meeting. I've never been aggressive. I might have things to say because I believe in the cause and I believe in the town. But I've never been aggressive, and I treat people how they treat me.
You don't even swear. I mean, I swear. I mean, I'm responsible for swearing.
I do swear.
But you don't swear at the council meetings and stuff.
No.
No.
The only thing I did at that meeting was, if you remember, when you got up to do that speech.
Oh, they tried to throw me out, because they're not happy with me because I've spoken. They decided that I'm not allowed to speak. So it's great, isn't it? You know, I'm not allowed to speak. Yeah.
So I presume it was that. It's because maybe they're saying I stopped the security from doing the job because I stood in front of him, didn't I? So maybe it's that. I don't know. I didn't read the stupid letter because it's not signed. They are not judging.
No, they've issued letters.
Got no evidence.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. We'll leave it at that. They're not judge and jury, and they've got no evidence, and I'll pick up on it. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
So the council, these ASBI letters, none of them are signed. They've claimed you can appeal to them, to an unspecified name and address, where an unspecified number of people will review your appeal. They are judge and jury, and they've decided what they want to do. This is called a dictatorship. This is called tyranny. And what Amanda Chadderton, Elizabeth Drogan, Paul Entwistle, and Harry Caffrell object to is people speaking out in this town against the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children. Because that is what all of this is to do with. The council cover-up. To this day, they still refuse to say how many of our children were groomed and gang raped. Refuse. Block motions for a government-led public inquiry. And the Conservatives in Oldham, all 4 of them got in off the back of this. And now Meek, with Robert Barnes standing up and offering his sincerest apologies to Gerard Jones, who has been exposed in the report itself as blocking victims from coming forward and giving evidence. What do you have to say, Beth Sharp, Lewis Quigg, Dave Arnott, Robert Barnes? What do you have to say to the people who believed in you? What do you have to say to the assault by council-funded thugs from a dodgy company based out of Newton Heath, who are beating up our people? Fails of independence. You've done a lot. You need to do more. Lib Dems, there's no point, is there? They're neck deep in the cover-up of the rape gangs. Why? Because one of their own councillors was convicted for child sex exploitation. It was hidden, and they were complicit in that. Weren't you, Howard? Sam Al-Hamdani, Mark Kenyon, Diane Williamson. Head of Security, Paul Viggers. Oldham Council's Head of Security, Paul Viggers, was involved in assaulting a member of the public. The council apparently have their own complaints process. Now, this is an out-of-control council. Out of control. Proven rape gang protectors, proven corrupt, proven electoral fraud, involved in electoral fraud, in bed with a corrupt Greater Manchester Police, covered up by the Oldham Times, the Manchester Evening News, the Oldham Chronicle, all working in it together. The opposition is nowhere to be seen. These are dark days for the town. These are very, very dark days for this town. I can't see a way through it. I honestly can't see a way through it. This is tyranny. These are the darkest days of tyranny. This is the behaviour I expect to see in China or North Korea. What next, Greater Manchester Police? Are you going to come and grab us in the middle of the night and take us away and hold us under terrorism legislation? My name is Raj Amir. These are Recusant 9 transmissions. They're due to end at Christmas. Unfortunately, we have been unable to get the support we need. And yeah, you decide. You decide where we go from here.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.